What's good, YouTube? Pro Jordy here, bringing you our DLC 3.5 out of season week 1 match against the Hawaii Raichus, who is head coached by Mr. Shaka trainer himself. So before we get into anything of our team analysis of who we brought along, who we think Shaka is going to be bringing, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Drop a like on the video. It is very, very much appreciated. I will also drop a link in the description as well to Shaka's channel. If not, I know he does Twitch, so I'll drop a link in there for his Twitch channel in there as well. So go check him out. Super cool guy, super chill, and he's very, very, very good battler. So I'll quickly jump in and pull up our team rosters here real quick. So on the left there, you can see our team, the British Bruxish, and who we are packing in our roster. And then on the right, we have Shaka's roster. So running through what he does have, he has the Mega Septile, the Zygarde 50%, which he is not allowed to bring Power Construct. That is very important to remember. He can only bring, I believe it's Aura Break is the other ability. Skarmory, Galar Weezing, Bisharp, Escavalier, Ordino, Dracopult, the Galar Zapdos, Mesprit, and Tangela. So, running through that list, the mons which jump out pretty quick to me, Bisharp is definitely going to be a pain. 100% going to need to prepare some ways to deal with that. Skarmory could be problematic because it can be extremely bulky. Same with the Galar Weezing. If I've not got ways to get through them pretty quick and allow them to set up any form of things around me, that can cause problems. Zygarde has a few different sets, quite a variety of what it can bring. That could cause me some issues. Sceptile and Dragapult are just extremely fast mons. Both are in excess of base 140 speed. I think they're 142 and 145. So both are extremely fast. So we're going to need some way to overcome that. The rest of the team I'm not kind of too bothered about. And I feel we can deal with relatively easy. Flipping over to our side, who we think will be really strong in this match. Straight off the bat, Latios. Latios runs Ice Beam as standard. That can deal very quickly with Dragapult and Mega Sceptile. Honchkrow can come in and is a very hard counter against Dragapult because of the Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch just straight up OHKOs Dragapult, so it really can't do anything. It has to switch out against it because it cannot outspeed that priority. Other mons I think would be relevant. Celesteela, I think, resists 90% of his team. Looking at that, so I think Steela's definitely going to be on the roster. Mega Deancey, because he has got those big dragons on the team, so definitely having to bring the fairy type in this match. Rest of the team's going to kind of be up and working about. And we'll see. But yeah, I mean, those are kind of the main threats I can see. The 6 I can see him probably most likely bringing on his team would be the Mega Sceptile, the Zygarde, the Skarmory, the Bisharp, Galar Weezing, and the Dracopult. Maybe switching out the Galar Weezing for the Zapdos, depending on what he considers to be the main threats in our team. Right, so here we have the team that we are going to be taking with us against the Hawaii Raichus. So as I said, it's pretty much the core of the team that I said previously, with Honchkrow, Latias, Mega Deancey, and Celesteela. The last 2 we went with was the Uxie and Entei. I'll give a quick run through of what we do have. So as you can see, the Mega Deancey that we are bringing a pretty standard sort of fast sweeping set. We've got the Moonblast and the Diamond Storm, both getting brought in. Moonblast because obviously it does have so many dragons in that team. The Diamond Storm is there to hit neutral on the Skarmory, and also, if I remember rightly, there was something else. What was the other one I was bringing that in for? Having a quick think there. What was it I was bringing the other in for? Rocks. It hits neutral on Escavalier. It basically just hits neutral on a lot of the mons that we can't hit with the Moonblast effectively. Also, Earth Power you can see as the third damaging move. That's just because Earth Power can't touch Skarmory and Weezing, and Mesprit and Galar Zapdos. So it just gives us kind of those three options there to vary and flick between. The fourth move on the list is a bit of a slightly different one. Originally, I was going to bring this as an offensive second option for setting rocks. However, I sat and had a play about with damage calculations, and I realised Earth Power, Okos, Bisharp, which is one of the biggest threats. Now, obviously, a Choice Scarf Bisharp beats Mega Diancie. It outspeeds it, and Iron Head Okos, no matter how bulky I make Mega Diancie, because it is quad weak to steel. So when I looked and I put the substitute on, because if we can get the substitute off, say he is pivoting into Bisharp to try and force us out, or similarly if there is another opportunity with some other options where we can set up the sub against something that isn't going to take the sub down straight away, we then can live the hit off of Bisharp's Iron Head, and we kill it on the backswing with the Earth Power. So that's kind of the thought process there. It gives us the option to live against the Bisharp. And also, if Skarmory, if he does decide to bring, I think Steel Wing is a roll. If he brings max attacks, Steel Wing. Escavalier, that again, steel attacks. So it just kind of gives us that little cushion, that little bit of protection by bringing the substitute as the fourth move there on Mega Diancie. So look over Honchkrow. Honchkrow I brought in as our defog user. It was originally Roost, but I figured bringing it in as the defog because we didn't really have anywhere else to put it. I wanted to bring defog because potentially if we were going to end up switching a lot and pivoting around to try and get in with Latios to set up to sweep, similarly pivoting into Mega Diancie to get the sweep, so I kind of needed to make sure I could remove the hazards. Honchkrow fit that bill with the defog. Giving it the heavy duty boots means I can switch in, and then also because it is relatively, it's not the bulkiest, but if you hit it, it can live quite a few neutral hits, at least one of them. Second one, it's 2-hit KO with a lot of things, so it means that I can revenge with the Sucker Punch if needs be and start racking up that Moxie Sucker Punch quite quickly, which is absolutely devastating to a lot of people. I did put the extra investment in the speed over the attack because he does have a few mons like Bisharp and a couple of others who are that 65, 70 and 75 speed tier. So I think if I remember rightly, by making us the Jolly Nature, we outspeed the 75 base tier that is not speed invested nature. So that makes quite a big difference and a nice little move around and just gives us that little bit extra with the superpower and the Brave Bird, which does help us potentially get an extra KO in there somewhere. Now this is the main man himself. This is how we are probably going to win this match. Latios with the Choice Scarf. I've speed creeped this so that way it will live a plus, or it will outspeed, sorry, a +1 Dragon Dance Dragapult. So Dragapult can get one Dragon Dance off and we will still outspeed. The reason I built it like that is just because I figured if he identifies it's the choice scarf, he might just think we've speed crept it to speed creep Mega Sceptile, who is the fastest on his team at 145 base speed. So I'm thinking if he brings the Dragon Dance by speed creeping the +1, it means that we can potentially catch him off guard and maybe get that kill when he wasn't expecting it. Great big coverage of moves there. Everything's self-explanatory when you look down his roster. Ice Beam, Draco Meteor, just for the absolute raw power neutral hits. Aura Sphere, Mystical Fire. Everything just hits things hard on his team. And that's what I was saying, is we are going to possibly have to keep pivoting because we are choiced. So it might be a case of bring in Latios, kill one or two things, tag it out, bring it back in, and just keep doing that to get those kills a bit spread out rather than just one big final sweep. Yuxi, now this is a lot more offensive than I wanted it to be. However, certain things in that were needed in the team had to be kind of brought in. So Yuxi has got the Stealth Rock. It is going to be our lead, because the aim is to get those Stealth Rocks up straight away. Now, I've went with a very physically bulky Rocky Helmet set because most of his threats to us seem to be physical. So it just seems nice to bulk out Yuxi, and as a case, if needs be, bring it in, let it take the hit and chip damage with the Rocky Helmet, and then it can U-turn out of there. It's got the Drain Punch and the Knockoff as well. Both pretty solid. Drain Punch is in there for a mixture of recovery, and also it does hit Ordino and that Bisharp really hard, and is pretty useful. Knockoff, self-explanatory, and U-turn, get the pivot in there to try and swing around things. A second choice scarf user in Entei this time. This is pretty much just your standard bulky band set. However, I swapped the band for a scarf. The whole reason for that is that basically then means he guarantees to outspeed everything in his team minus the Dracopult and the Mega Sceptile, minus other choice scarfers. That was literally the whole only reason for bringing that choice scarf, because it meant I could guarantee the outspeed and then also provide as much bulk and physical offensive power as possible. Again, 4 pretty self-explanatory moves. I have went with the extreme speed just so we do have an option against the Mega Sceptile. Obviously that won't work against Dracopult with it being a ghost type, but extreme speed does mean that we can come in and potentially, if needs be, just get that last little bit off of Mega Sceptile. It isn't that got that much bulk on it. It's pretty fragile, so an extreme speed is going to hit it pretty hard, and we will outspeed it because of the priority. So this thing is literally just there to come in and just hit like a truck. And rounding off our team, we have a pretty standard Celesteela set. One thing, when I was looking at his roster, I feel he has to set up with things. There's not going to be a case of, I think with the exception of Mega Sceptile and maybe Dracopult to a degree, however, because we do have hard counters in there, I don't think he can do it as much as he would like. I feel that he needs to set things up, whether that be through Zygarde, whether that be through Dracopult, or even Mega Sceptile, or even other options like his Galar Zapdos. He will need to set something up because he hasn't really got anything that can just drop in and just tear a hole in the team because of the defensive counters that we have. Which is one reason I've brought the set I have. It's kind of a very traditional Celesteela looking set with the Leech Seed, Protect, Air Slash and Toxic. Personally, it's a set I really dislike. I'd much rather use it with just the Leech Seed or the Toxic. However, having both in there, it gives us kind of that little bit of variation. So if he does manage to set something up on us, we can look to kind of slow that down, force him to switch out with the Toxic and Leech Seed, for that continual damage as well. With Protect and Leftovers, we're just going to sit there and soak up hits and regain HP just coming out the wazoo. So yeah, that is our team. That is who we are looking to bring this week against Shaka. Overall, I think we're looking pretty strong. I think this is one of our better matchups of the league. Having said that, that's based purely on the mons in the rosters. Shaka is very, very skilled, so he can more than make up for us for that matchup. So we can't count him down and just think, oh, this is going to be a nice, easy 5-0, 6-0 win. It is going to be a bit of a battle on our hands here. So fingers crossed, we will come away with the W this week. Right, so here we are. Here is our week 1 match here against the Shaka trainer and the Hawaii Raichus. So as you can see, I'm doing this battle it's already happened. I do know the outcome. It's basically just going to be easier in terms of recording and things, just to kind of do these battles in retrospect after it has finished, particularly when things do get a bit long-winded in terms of stall bits in the matches. But without further ado, let us begin. As we see here, we can see that the team that Shaka has brought is missing that buy shop that I was pretty worried about. Everything else is pretty much nailed on the head. He's brought basically both the Wheezing and the Zapdos, which I was expecting either or, and slot number 6 to belong to the buy shop. So that's potentially really good for us. So let's see how it goes. So start off with he leads Skarmory. I lead Uxie, which was kind of expected on his part. So we kick off with the Stealth Rocks versus the Spikes, which is quite alright with me. I don't mind the Spikes too much. I then knock off his Rocky Helmet. He sets up the second layer of Spikes before I pivot out. And I pivot into the Entei with the aim of basically just trying to finish this off quite quickly and get Skarmory out of action as soon as possible. He has went for that Iron Head, which does nothing to Entei, and then pivots out into the Zygarde, which we then smash with the Sacred Fire. And he basically signals that he has the leftovers on Zygarde. So at that point we bring in Celesteela, where he hits us with the Glare to paralyze Celesteela down, which is fine. So we know to kind of try and avoid that with Entei. He sets up a sub. Now this is what we were a bit afraid of, like I'd said, is for him trying to set up with something. So I know that Celesteela can beat that substitute with the Air Slash. So that's what we try to do, and we do it successfully. We get rid of it. So he's left on a +1 Dragon Dance. So we go into Deontay, expecting the Dragon move, and he goes with a sub. He then goes with the leftovers again. So we then Mega Evolve, as we have to on the first turn that we're in. And he tries to glare us, but we have the Magic Bounce, which is super clutch at that point, and we set up our own sub, which is obviously probably caught him off guard a little bit at that point. He goes with 1,000 Arrows, which does break our sub, but then we hit back with the Moonblast, breaking his. So as he does outspeed, we kind of don't really have too much option to stay in, so we do have to flick out into Uxie, where he gets us with the 1,000 Arrows, which did catch me a bit off guard because I thought 1,000 Arrows was a ground type, so we'd have levitated it, but completely forgot about that. So we hit with the left knockoff and get rid of those leftovers, which is huge for us. And then the first kill of the match comes in with that crit from 1,000 Arrows. I believe the crit mattered there. So we go into Latios, and we end up in Latios versus Wheezing. And he's obviously immune to the Draco Meteor, which doesn't really do anything, and he then heals back up with a little bit of that Rocks damage. We flick into Celesteela, and he hits us with a Strange Beam Steam, which does nothing to us really, before he heals pretty much back to full now. So he's back in his Zygarde, and those rocks do a tiny bit of chip, and we hit the Paralysis, which would have been super nice to have hit the Air Slash at that point. He tries to set up on us again, and again we get paralyzed. So that's 2 paralysis in a row. Surely it can't happen a 3rd time, can it? Of course it does. So 3 fully paralyzed in a row, which 1,000 arrows absolutely smashes us for 60, and it's now a roll to beat it with the air slash. I hit the protect to try and get up a little bit extra on the HP, just in case that we did somehow manage to get through it all, but we don't, and we go down. So at this point things are starting to look a bit ropey for us, as we end up with Honchkrow against Skarmory. I go for the superpower, and I was possibly considering defog at this point, but luckily he defogged for me, so it worked out as a win-win situation. We then flick out back into Entei, trying to force some pressure that Skarmory to come out, but he hits the roost on us and gets that free roost off. So he pivots into Dracopult, where we hit it with the Sacred Fire, and we get the burn, which is absolutely huge, reducing that attack power on his Dracopult, which allows us to go into Honchkrow. As I said, we can live the neutral hits like that Surf. For some reason he stays in. We had to go Sucker Punch just in case, and we managed to live that, and we managed to get that kill, which was massive for us, and that was half the reason for bringing Honchkrow, was to get that kill on the Dracopult. We then Brave Bird the Weezing, and he misses that Strange Steam, so Honchkrow starts to basically swing the match back in our favour. He stays in again, and that Sucker Punch from the Moxie is enough. So that's 2 kills for Honchkrow, back-to-back kills. He goes into the Zapdos and hits us with the U-turn. I believe I clicked Brave Bird. Probably should have went with the Sucker Punch there. But it's now yet again, Skarmory versus Entei. We hit him with a Sacred Fire. It is a 2-hit kill, and we get that burn again. That burn is super clutch. So yet again, clicking, and we just basically we have no reason now with what is left in his team to just not sit there and click Sacred Fire, because of how much damage is already on the Zygarde. We can just stay in and keep clicking that Sacred Fire. He doesn't live up, but then you get the burn, and the burn literally gets the kill for us at this point, that was probably the luckiest of all the burns that we did get. So in comes Galar Zapdos. We hit him with another Sacred Fire and another burn. It was literally just, this entire match was just so much hacks. I mean, it's a 50% chance to burn with Sacred Fire, but even so, that many burns was just crazy. So we go to Zapdos. He has got the Sceptile now. Mega Sceptile does outspeed, so the Focus Miss does hit that time, and he puts us down to 2 mons. But we have the Latios, and this is what it was built for. Hitting with that Quad Ice Beam to round off the match super nicely. So yeah, Honchkrow and Entei pretty much carried us for most of that match there. And then Latios, the one that we thought was going to come in and do the bulk of the work, actually just ended up on cleanup duty there. So it was a super good match. And as I said at the start, it was always going to be a good match. Shaka's a really good player, and it's always close and well fought when we do play. So yeah, we are currently now sat 1-0 for the season. Great start to the season. Next week, week 2, I believe we are facing Teddy Torracats, which is a new coach in the league. I've never faced him before, so that will be quite an interesting match. So I'm going to be getting prep on that quite soon. If you haven't already, please drop a like on this video already and hit that subscribe button. And as I said at the start, I'm going to be linking some of Shaka's details down in this description as well. So if you want to go and check him out, I'm not sure if he's doing videos for the DLC or not. But regardless, I will make sure to definitely at least link in his Twitch for you to go check out. But no, thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you again next time, where hopefully we can continue our win streak. Ciao.